I reconnected with a childhood friend after years of silence, and now I feel like I'm falling all over again. We knew each other since we were kids. Our families lived next door to each other. I remember spending summers building forts in the woods behind our houses with her. She always had the best ideas for secret passages and lookout towers. We were inseparable. We went through elementary school together, sharing secrets whispered during class and trading snacks at lunch. I always felt like she understood me better than anyone else. After middle school we went to different high schools. I made new friends, and I got involved in different activities. I played sports, and I focused on getting good grades. I started thinking about college and what I wanted to study. My life became busy and complicated. I didn't have as much time to think about the past. Sometimes I felt guilty for not keeping in touch. I told myself I would call her soon. Then weeks turned into months, and months turned into years. I knew I should make an effort, but it felt hard. I wondered if she even thought about me anymore. Years passed and I didn't hear anything from her. I assumed she had a completely different life now. She probably had new friends and new interests. I imagined she had forgotten all about our childhood adventures. It felt strange to think of her living so far away. Sometimes I looked at old photos of us. I felt a pang of sadness when I did that. I missed the simplicity of our childhood friendship. I knew I could try to find her online. However, I didn't because I felt awkward. Then, her family moved. They relocated across the country for her dad's job. I was devastated. We promised to stay in touch, writing letters, and making awkward phone calls. But as we got older, the distance grew wider. Life got in the way. We drifted apart. Social media didn't exist back then, so it wasn't easy to just find her. I thought about her often, wondering where she was and what she was doing. But I never reached out. I guess I figured too much time had passed. Years went by. I went to college, got a job, and settled into a routine. I met other people, had relationships that ended, and built a life for myself. But a part of me always wondered about her. I never forgot the easy laughter and the genuine connection we had shared. She always felt like a missing piece of my past. I tried dating. I put myself out there, hoping to find someone who understood me. It never worked out. I always compared them to her. I know it was unfair to the other people, but I could not help it. I think I was afraid of getting hurt again. I did not want to risk opening myself up completely. I focused on my career and my friends. I told myself that I was happy, but there was always a small voice inside me questioning that. I ignored the voice for a long time. I did not expect to ever hear from her again. I assumed she had moved on completely. I imagined she had a husband, kids, and a perfect life. I figured I was just a distant memory from her childhood. I tried to convince myself that was for the best. It was better to leave the past in the past. But when I saw her name, everything changed. My heart started racing. I felt like I was 16 again. I knew I had to reach out. I told myself it was just to say hello. Then, a few months ago, I stumbled across her name on a social media site. It was a mutual friend from high school. I hesitated for a long time before sending her a message. I didn't want to seem weird or intrusive, but curiosity got the better of me. I just said hello, mentioned our childhood, and asked how she was doing. To my surprise, she responded almost immediately. She said she had thought about me too over the years. We started messaging back and forth, catching up on everything that had happened in our lives. It felt like no time had passed at all. The conversation flowed easily. I found myself laughing at her jokes and sharing stories I hadn't thought about in years. I learned that she had moved to a different state after we lost touch. She got married and had 2 children. She later got divorced. She now works as a nurse. I told her that I still live in the same town. I work in the same field. I never got married, but I dated a few people. I never had any children. I explained that I always wondered what happened to her. I often thought about the good times we had. I asked her if she would want to meet up sometime. I said I understood if she was not comfortable with that. I figured it could be awkward after so many years. She said she would like that. She said she was planning a trip back to visit family soon. We decided to meet for coffee when she came into town. I felt excited and nervous at the same time. I wondered if we could recapture what we once had. We talked about our families, our jobs, and our dreams for the future. She told me about her travels and her adventures. I told her about my struggles and my accomplishments. We discovered that we still had a lot in common. We shared the same sense of humor and the same values. It was like finding a long-lost piece of myself. After a few weeks of messaging, we decided to talk on the phone. I was nervous. I didn't want to ruin the connection we had re-established. But as soon as I heard her voice, all my worries disappeared. It was just like old times. We talked for hours, laughing and reminiscing. The phone calls became a regular thing. We spoke every other night for weeks. We covered a lot of ground. I learned about her life. She learned about mine. I found out she had gone through a divorce a few years back. Her kids were grown. She was working as a nurse. I told her about my job. I explained I was still single and living in the same house. We discussed our families and our friends. It felt comfortable and easy to share those details. The more we talked, the more I felt like we were picking up right where we left off. I realized I wanted to see her again. I brought it up during one of our conversations. I told her I would love to see her if she ever came back to town. She seemed receptive to the idea. She said she sometimes visited her parents. It turned out she had a trip planned for the next month. I was thrilled when she told me. I started thinking about where we could go and what we could do. I hoped it would be like the phone calls. We made plans to meet up. She was coming back to our hometown for a visit. I felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. I hadn't seen her in person in over 2 decades. I worried that we wouldn't have the same spark or that we would be different people. When I saw her at the coffee shop, I was stunned. She looked even better than I remembered. Her eyes were the same color. Her smile was just as warm. We hugged, and it felt natural and familiar. I asked her what she had been up to all these years. She told me about her career and her travels. She seemed happy and fulfilled. I told her about my life, too. I shared my struggles and my successes. I think we both appreciated the chance to catch up. It felt like no time had passed at all. We talked for hours at the coffee shop, just like we used to do in high school. Eventually, we decided to leave the coffee shop. I suggested we do something fun. She agreed, and we tried to think of something to do. I suggested we drive around town. We both knew every street. We knew all the best places to eat. We knew all the hidden gems that only locals knew about. It was fun to see if those places were still there. It was like stepping back in time. We spent the whole day together, walking around our old neighborhood and visiting our favorite childhood spots. We went to the park where we used to play on the swings. We walked past our old houses and reminisced about the silly things we used to do. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. It was like we were kids again, exploring the world with wide eyes and open hearts. I felt a connection with her that I hadn't felt with anyone else in a long time. It was more than just nostalgia. It was a genuine feeling of affection and understanding. We spent hours talking about our lives. I told her about my job and my friends. She told me about her travels and her dreams. We laughed about silly things and we shared serious thoughts. The day flew by. I didn't want it to end. It felt easy to talk to her. I had not experienced that with anyone in a long time. It was comfortable, like no time had passed. I found myself wanting to impress her. I wanted her to see me as someone worthy of her attention. I wanted to make her laugh and smile. More than anything, I wanted to know what she thought of me. I wondered if she felt the same connection that I felt. I tried to subtly gauge her interest, but I didn't want to be too obvious. I didn't want to ruin the possibility of a future with her by acting too eager. I just wanted her to be happy and comfortable. As the day went on, I realized that I was starting to fall for her. It wasn't just a rekindling of old feelings. It was something new and different. I was drawn to her intelligence, her humor, and her kindness. I admired her strength and her independence. I felt like she was the person I was always meant to be with. I know it sounds crazy. We hadn't seen each other in years, but I couldn't deny the way I felt. I wanted to spend every minute with her. I wanted to know everything about her. I wanted to build a future with her. I tried to play it cool. I acted like I wasn't completely head over heels. I made jokes and small talk. But inside, I was terrified that I would scare her away. I worried she didn't feel the same way. I didn't want to pressure her. I wanted her to want this as much as I did. So I tried to be casual and not give away how serious I already was about her. We talked about our lives and what we had been doing. The conversation flowed so easily, just like it used to. It felt natural, like no time had passed at all. The drive to the airport was awful. It felt like it took forever. Every red light felt like an eternity. I was trying to memorize every detail about her. The way she laughed, the way she looked at me. I wanted to hold on to every moment. I knew it would be a while before I saw her again. I wondered if this was a mistake. Maybe I was rushing things. But the thought of not seeing her again was unbearable. I needed to find a way to make this work. When it was time for her to leave, I was heartbroken. I didn't want her to go. I knew that we lived far apart. I knew that it would be difficult to maintain a relationship. But I couldn't imagine my life without her in it. I told her how I felt. I said that I had developed feelings for her and that I wanted to see where things could go. I was terrified of rejection. I didn't want to ruin our friendship. I waited for her to respond. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. I tried to appear calm, but I was a nervous wreck. I replayed the conversation in my head. I wondered if I had said too much. I analyzed my words and actions. I considered what I could have done differently. I braced myself for the worst. I had prepared for any outcome. I just hoped it would not be too awkward if she did not reciprocate. The silence felt like an eternity. I started to regret telling her. I worried about how this would change things. I thought about all the fun we had together. I considered the possibility of losing that. I did not want to make things weird. I hoped we could still be friends if she did not feel the same way. I tried to think of an escape route if the conversation went south. I was relieved when she finally broke the silence. She was quiet for a moment. Then, she said that she felt the same way. She admitted that she had been developing feelings for me too. She was just as scared to say something. She didn't want to risk our friendship. I was overjoyed. I couldn't believe that she felt the same way. We kissed, and it was perfect. It was like all the years of separation melted away. We were finally together, after all this time. I felt like I was floating. I felt light and giddy. Time seemed to stop. I had wanted this for so long. I was almost afraid to move, afraid to break the spell. I knew that this was just the beginning. I knew that we had to figure out the logistics of being together. I realized that reality would set in soon. I pushed those thoughts away for the moment. I just wanted to enjoy this feeling. Later that evening, we talked about the future. We acknowledged the practical issues. We discussed our jobs and where we lived. We knew that one of us would have to move eventually. It was a huge decision. We did not take it lightly. We both agreed that we needed to spend more time together in person before making any concrete plans. We decided to focus on the short term. We would see each other as often as possible. We knew that we had a lot of challenges ahead of us. The distance was a major obstacle, but we were determined to make it work. We started making plans to visit each other. We talked every day, sharing our thoughts and feelings. We were building a new relationship, based on a foundation of shared history and mutual affection. We have been dating long distance for the past few months. It's not easy. We miss each other terribly, but we make the most of our time together when we can. We fly back and forth as often as possible. We talk on the phone every night. We are committed to making this work. I know that some people might think we are crazy. They might say that it's impossible to have a successful long-distance relationship, but I don't care what they think. I know that I am in love with her. I believe that we can overcome any obstacle. She is my best friend, my soulmate, and the love of my life. I can't imagine my life without her. I am grateful for the chance to reconnect with her after all these years. I feel like I have been given a second chance at happiness. I know that the future is uncertain, but I am optimistic. I believe that we can build a beautiful life together, no matter where we are. I am willing to fight for our love. She is worth it. She is everything. I have never felt this way about anyone before. It's like a dream come true. I found my way back to her. After all the years and all the miles, we are finally together. I am so happy. I am so in love. I just wanted to share my story. I wanted to tell someone how amazing it feels to reconnect with a childhood friend and discover that you are meant to be together. It's like a fairy tale. It's like a miracle. I hope that our story inspires others to reach out to people from their past. You never know what might happen. You might just find the love of your life. I am so grateful for everything. I am so lucky to have her in my life. I am so excited for the future. I can't wait to see what it holds. She's coming to visit again next week. I'm already counting down the days. I can't wait to hold her in my arms again. I can't wait to laugh with her again. I can't wait to spend time with her again. She makes me happy. She makes me feel alive. She makes me want to be a better person. I am so in love with her. I am so grateful for her. Thank you for listening to my story. I just needed to get it off my chest. I hope that it brought a smile to your face. I hope that it gave you hope. I hope that it reminded you that anything is possible. Love is real. Love is powerful. Love can conquer all.